you encounter technical issues during the broadcast, please call the Oregon Studio Hotline at 336-831-0864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield IMG College.
This is Duck Insider.
Give it to Verdell. He's got the first down and go! Duck fans start celebrating. Oregon is the 2019 Pac-12 champion. The 2020 Rose Bowl champion.
Richardson, another open three. Good! Duarte dribbles and slams with the right hand. For the third time in the last 5 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions. Outright champ.
Holy three. Goal! Holy ball! Out Shelley. Free ball. Goal! Regular season champions and now Pac-12 tournament champions.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
We're just getting started.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Hello, happy Tuesday. Hope everybody's getting ready for a safe and healthy Thanksgiving holiday as we get ready for the start of basketball season, which is going to be a little bit later than we were hoping. And also, football. Oregon State, Oregon, yeah. Just as we go on the air here at 1 o'clock live, the Pac-12 has just announced the men's basketball conference schedule, the 20-game schedule that it now has dates but does not have start times yet. Those still to come as TV partners figure everything out. But we do have an announcement that happened last night. Eastern Washington dealing with some COVID-19 concerns, which means tomorrow's men's basketball season opener between the Ducks and Eastern Washington will not occur. Don't know if that game is going to be able to be rescheduled. Ducks obviously hopeful to get as many games as possible, but we know that basketball season will not start on Wednesday, could potentially get rolling this weekend. But we do know that the Oregon women will start at 11 a.m. on Saturday. That'll be on GoDucks.com/live. And, of course, Terry Johns will have the call across the Oregon Sports Network. So some bad news as we open the show today after that game announced as postponed earlier last night, I should say. I think this is going to be the norm. Unfortunately, we're going to be dealing with those sorts of different changes and schedule changes, so we'll do our best to keep you updated as much as possible on the show, on social media, across all the Oregon Athletics channels, and everywhere in between. We do also, though, have a good announcement before we hear from Oregon offensive coordinator Joe Moorhead. We're going to hear from the OC coming up in just a moment. He met with the media about a half an hour ago if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour. Also, Tyler Shuck, we'll hear from the Oregon quarterback. He's got some family connections to this Oregon State rivalry, even though he's from Arizona. More on that coming up. And Johnny Johnson III is currently speaking with the media. And we've got, as they say in our line of work, we're rolling on it. And we'll have it for you here coming up toward the end of the show. The Prefontaine Classic, though, is coming back to Hayward. This is great news. Tuesday announced the 2021 Wanda Diamond League schedule, and the Nike Prefontaine Classic will be back at Hayward Field, which is just outstanding. Hayward Field is going to be the home of a number of big-time events, including the NCAA Division I Outdoor Track and Field Championships in June of 2021, the U.S. Olympic Team Trials then about a week later, and the Prefontaine Classic will be in August. So this will be the first professional meet that is not an Olympic trial meet that will occur for fans at Hayward Field. And it's going to be a little bittersweet, to be honest, for me to look at Hayward Field and know that we could have had some events there this past year. But look, the pandemic has changed everything, and as a result, we're all trying to figure out the best way to go about this. And we know that, and the Ducks have certainly a lot to look forward to as we head toward that Prefontaine Classic. It'll be at the University of Oregon from August 20th to 21st this season. And I hope that we get there quickly, and I hope that everything goes according to plan. Meanwhile, before we hear from Joe Moorhead, our Toyota Rivalry breakdown. So Toyota is one of our Rivalry Series partners as we've all talked to you about over the course of the last few years. Well, I wanted to zero in on what is sort of it is impressive for the Ducks. So our Toyota Rivalry breakdown. Oregon has won 11 of the last 12 meetings between the Ducks and the Beavers. And Oregon holds an all-time mark of 66, 47, and 10 in the rivalry. And in those last 12 meetings, this is big, in those last 12 meetings, the Ducks are averaging 45.3 points per contest, and they've got a scoring margin of plus 20.2. They're winning every game by an average of about 3 touchdowns. Over the last 12 meetings, the Ducks have scored points in 46 of the 48 quarters against the Beavers, including a touchdown in 44 of those quarters. Yeah, Oregon has dominated. Our rivalry breakdown is brought to you by Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Now, look, this is not to say that Oregon's going to be able to do that again. They got their work cut out for them. As Rob Mosley noted in the Quack Minute today, and he'll write about more in his practice report coming up this afternoon, the Ducks know that they have their work cut out for them against this Oregon State running attack. Winning in the trenches is going to be a huge key, and the Ducks prioritize that today. I also thought it was really cool, Tyler Shuck just talked about it too, that the Ducks had Ryan Walk speak to the team after practice. Eugene kid, grew up rooting for Oregon football, watched Oregon trounce the Beavers in Autzen Stadium a few times before he came to play for the Ducks, was a walk-on, was recently awarded a scholarship starting on the offensive line for the Ducks. Ryan Walk's such a cool story, and having him talk about what this rivalry means, I think that goes a long way to the team. And Joe Moorhead also embraced this rivalry as well. More on that from the Oregon offensive coordinator in a moment. Time for our Oregon Imaging Center's inside look. And speaking of Joe Moorhead, the balanced attack has led to a number of impressive statistics because through the first 3 games for the Ducks, Oregon is one of just 3 Power 5 teams, the other 2 being Ohio State and Ole Miss, averaging 275 yards passing and 200 yards rushing per game. In their last road game against Washington State, the Ducks put together their first truly impressive performance on the ground with 300 yards through the air and then 200 yards on the ground as well. It's the first time the Ducks have had that 300-200 combo in a Pac-12 road game since 2016. The balanced attack with Joe Moorhead. Tyler Shuck leading the conference in passer efficiency by about 20 points and by about 20 points with passer rating as well. And the Ducks are averaging about 500 yards per game. 300 through the air, 200 on the ground. Pretty impressive from Joe Moorhead, and that balanced attack, it has to continue if the Ducks want to find some success at Oregon State. Oregon Imaging Centers, your inside look. Choose quality, choose service, choose Oregon Imaging Centers. The choice is yours. And our choice now is to hear from Joe Moorhead. The Oregon offensive coordinator talked to the media just a little while ago, jumping in, talking about rivalries, the quarterbacks, and how you go about attacking the Beavers, as well as looking back on what went well and what didn't go so well against UCLA. The Oregon offensive coordinator, Joe Moorhead, speaking with the media today.
Coach, it looked like UCLA went in with a game plan to stop the run. They, stacked the box. They did run blitzes. Oregon State runs a lot of those same packages. What do you have to do to establish a run when the defense is going in there to try to take it away from you?
Yeah, I thought first off, you got to tip your cap, to UCLA, and they had a nice game plan, as you mentioned, whether it's line movements or pressures in their scheme, and they're very talented up front. They have some very good players at the first and second level. So like anything, it's numbers, angles, and grass in a run game. Where can we put our kids in position to be successful based on the play call and the scheme? Got to play with a tremendous amount of physicality and finish. And, the quarterback's got to do a great job making the correct reads and getting the ball to where it needs to go. So I think all those things will be, of primary importance moving forward.
Joe, Hunter Cantmore sure was impressive in that second half, specifically in the passing game. I guess just impressions from him there, and how does he change that group for you guys?
Yeah, a great veteran presence, very mature young man, cares a lot about the team, physical in the run game, and I think he had 5 for 70, to see the production that we're getting out of our tight ends thus far this season, but both, they need to block like linemen in the run game and play like receivers in the pass game. So it was good for him to get back on the field and have a significant contribution to the win.
So following up to the earlier question about UCLA trying to take away the run, obviously it makes things really difficult for you on third down. How much does Tyler's ability, we talked a little bit about comparing guys to guys in your past, you didn't have that kind of third down issue and win since Penn State in 16, and Trace was a sophomore too. And he won in games against Michigan and Ohio State where you face similar situations. What kind of presence is it that you're getting from Tyler that if they're going to take away the run, that you're able to turn to a quarterback and he's able to achieve and move the ball for you?
Yeah, I think the first part of it is, and we've discussed this before, that the balance of our offensive attack, you almost want to make it a choose your poison mindset. That if teams are going to stack the box and stunt and move and blitz and really make it difficult to do some of those things, that that you're going to throw the ball over their head. And they did a bunch of things to make it difficult for us to run the ball, but a lot of times we were able to pick it up. And if teams are going to do it by numbers, by support, or by pressure, you're going to try to find the one-on-one matchups and exploit those. So that's the first thing. Number one, we need to be able to run the ball successfully, regardless of kind of what the looks are, and we'll find ways to continue to do that moving forward. But the other part of it is if it's going to open up another part of your offense, and we were able to exploit that. I think we were 3 of 11. We were 2 drops away from being 5 and 11. So he got to do a great job on third down. Working the protections to make sure that things are picked up and going through his progressions. And when things aren't there, with as much man-free coverage that you see on those down and distances, tucking the ball and running.
Challenges of this Oregon State defense. What have you seen watching film? What stands out to you?
Yeah, they're a very, very talented group. They play with a tremendous amount of, effort and physicality. Very, very multiple in their scheme. The number 9 kid. He's a game wrecker. He's a special player. I think they got a really talented group of linebackers as well. And then on the back end, they have a lot of length. So I would say the multiplicity of their scheme, how hard they play, and then obviously a rivalry game. All those things are kind of cranked up a notch or two.
Coach, we're halfway through the season, hasn't got in yet. What situation at this point do you see him getting in? I mean, other than if Tyler's not performing well or injury, or which hopefully won't happen. Do you ever see the value of putting a guy in when the game's still on the line, give the other quarterback a break, and get him experience?
Did you ask about Anthony? I couldn't hear really
yes, Anthony.
Question.
Yeah, or any backup quarterback in how you coach.
Yeah, we're really fortunate, not just with Tyler and AB, but the whole group, but to have the luxury of players of their caliber, where you essentially have 2 guys that are capable of starting a game and playing at a very high level. And Anthony's been very mature in his approach. He understands that he's one play away. At different places I've been, we've run some 2 QB packages, having guys in at the same time and doing some unique things there. But, as of right now, Tyler's a starter with going with him. We've kind of had some of those discussions of things you mentioned, relative to a series, maybe in the first half or the second half. But, with Tyler being a first-time starter, and needing all the reps that he can get, that's what we've decided moving forward.
Coach Cristobal kind of mentioned Devin Williams. Everyone on the team knew he had been coming on the last couple of weeks the way he'd been practicing, and then he had that performance, obviously, against UCLA. What did you see from him leading up to that UCLA game and then for the game?
I think a tremendous amount of urgency in his preparation and his practice habits. Every rep was full speed, whether it was individual, group, or team. And you play like you practice. So I thought there was a great amount of carryover, and it's a good lesson, when you reinforce that point all the time, as Coach Cristobal does, that his practice habits leading up to that game were rewarded with his performance individually and with us as an offense as well.
Joe, you've obviously coached in some rivalries before. What do
one or two.
What have you learned from those experiences? You mentioned things kind of get ratcheted up a little bit. How is a rivalry week a little different in terms of just the game day experience?
Where do I start? No, the things that I've found that are ingredients for a great rivalry are proximity, familiarity between the kids and the coaches, and then passionate fan bases. And obviously this rivalry, has all those things. And, there's just something a little bit different about these games. You know what I mean? We're still in our 1-0 process, doing the things that are necessary from a cultural and preparation standpoint to win the game. But there is just that added element of, kind of quote unquote rivalry week. And I think I'm learning as much about this from our kids is kind of the, information I'm trying to provide from other rivalry games I've been in.
Joe, you talked about how much more the offense, like how much again, scratching the surface and adding to it. how much does it change even compared to 2 weeks ago, where now that Devin has progressed and emerged and he's at the true X and Johnny's versatility moves him to the Z and Hunter comes back and you're doing more 12 personnel? These are just things that you weren't doing even 2 weeks ago, let alone what might be 2 weeks from now. So just how much more along are you able to be now compared to literally just even 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's all hindsight, but, losing those last 11 spring practices and kind of everything leading up to fall camp with the uncertainty of the season certainly hindered some of our development and ability to put in a little more schematically and personnel-wise than we probably would want to. But we've got such smart kids here and a great group of coaches who understand and can provide the information and the kids can digest it. I think as every week goes on, we can maybe add another wrinkle or another personnel grouping or another formation, and hopefully if we're, once, we're going to be able to continue to do that as the season progresses.
CJ obviously wasn't as efficient last week as he was his first two, and everyone's going to have a bad game. But what can you do to get him back on track and get him back to where he was week 1, week 2 levels?
Yeah, I mean, and that happens. I mean, you go back to, places I've been at other, there's games when people are going to sell out to stop a guy like Saquon or a guy like CJ. And then that's why it's a team effort, someone else has got to pick up the slack. And we were able to do that in the pass game. And Travis had some things, that we were able to get him isolated. So it's like I said before, we're going to have to play with great physicality. We're going to have to do a great job with our numbers and angles in the run game and finding spots to take advantage of our scheme, and the quarterback's going to have to do a great job getting the ball to the playmakers.
Coach, I was just wondering, kind of in the grand scheme of things, what are the points of emphasis heading into this game for your offense on Friday?
It'll be the same thing that we talk about normally, that we want to win the explosive play battle and win the turnover battle, which we did. I think we were 20% explosive plays again. We turned it over once and it was costly, but as a team, we won. We were +3 in the turnover battle. 75% red zone touchdowns, which we hit, and then we weren't to our standard on third down, and we didn't outrush the opponent. So those are the things that we look at every week as barometers for success, and usually pretty good indicators of how we play and how it pertains to a win.
So kind of a bigger picture question on just the process of development of quarterbacks in particular, when we're talking about things like RPOs and zone reads and stuff, when the defense obviously knows what the keys are too, and then they're going to counter and try to basically trick a quarterback into taking a short pass or whatever, forcing a key into something they want to give up. At what stage in development do you try to get the counter to the counter in? We're talking about a quarterback in his third start, so I'm not overloading him and presenting too much, but just philosophically, how do you get to all right, if the defense is going to force you to do that, then we can rebut with this, and it's just a constant counterpunch.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, Tyler's, for a guy that started 3 games and, thrown for over 300 twice, run for over 80 twice, and I believe leads the conference maybe in pass efficiency and touchdowns. That's very positive, but he'll be the first one to say that there is so much room to grow, for him individually and us as an offense. And I'm excited that he embraces that aspect of it. But it's part of the chess match that I love, what I mean? And that I think we're able to manipulate who we read on a given play, whether it's someone at the first or second or third level. And that's the great part of the option part of it, is they don't know whether you're going to hand it off or throw it. So I think you need to continue providing different presentations of who you're reading and why, you know what I mean? And then what the route is with the RPO and all those different things. So there are certain parts of, hey, we could call this defense to take away this certain RPO and make them do this. But I hope we're diverse enough with what we're doing that they can't really hone into who we're reading on a play based on formation.
Joe Moorhead, the Oregon offensive coordinator, with a preview of the Oregon State matchup at 4:30 on ESPN. 2:30 pregame show for us across the Oregon Sports Network coming up on Friday, day after Thanksgiving. Every assistant coach interview this year is brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with cancer care you can count on. Up next, we're going to hear from the quarterback, Tyler Shuck. He met with the media. Some interesting family connections in this Oregon State rivalry for the Arizona kid. He talks about that next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Learfield IMG College.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio, getting ready for that 4:30 kickoff on Friday. We won't have a show, a Duck Insider show that is, for you coming up on Thursday, Thanksgiving. I'll be stuffing my face with some turkey and other things. And then we also will have, of course, a football game at 4:30 coming up on Friday. The guys will be calling it from the booth at Autzen. Things will be a little bit different as we continue to socially distance during this time. So we'll have that coming up for you on Friday in lieu of a Duck Insider. And unfortunately, we don't have a basketball game on the schedule anymore for tomorrow night, and no coaches show either, as the Ducks will hopefully start the men's basketball season here soon. We do know Oregon women's basketball will start at 11 a.m. on Saturday. Terry Johns has a 10:30 pregame show on the Oregon Sports Network, and the Ducks will be streaming the game with Terry on the call. At least that's our plan. With Terry on the call coming up on GoDucks.com/live at 11 a.m. on Saturday. Your Toyota Women's Sports Schedule Spotlight, always brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Tyler Shuck, Oregon quarterback, met with the media today, just a little while ago if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour. Jumping in, talking about the run-pass options, and he gets into what this rivalry means to his family. Kind of an interesting connection for a kid from Arizona. You'll want to hear about that. Tyler Shuck, though, jumping in, talking about the RPO in the Oregon offense.
Obviously, my first 2 years here, we had a little bit of everything with RPOs, but Coach Moorhead just really – he does a great job with the read-wise and just managing how we look at the defense and how the offense runs. So it really makes it easy on the wideouts and on me and on the O-line for as far as read perspectives, and it just matters about executing it.
How much do you feel like Devin's just pure size presents a challenge and big play ability for you guys? And what have you seen from him the last few weeks in his development?
Yeah, it's definitely a huge advantage just because he's got that long framework to where you could just feel like you can throw a jump ball and put it out pretty much anywhere high or outside the body because he's got that radius for sure. So I think he's just using it to his advantage and using his size, getting out of breaks and obviously on jump balls. So he's just getting better every day, and then all of our wideouts are. So I have full confidence in all of them.
Much further along, and how much more is this offense able to do now, even compared to the first week of the season? Not just because you and the offensive line have gotten more game experience, but you mentioned Devin or Hunter being back, Cam working his way back. You guys did more out of 12. Devin, moving to the X, moves Johnny to the Z. It seems like there's a lot more options available to you guys now than even 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's just part of getting personnel back, getting a lot of guys just stepping into their roles. So it definitely puts a lot of flexibility in our offense and what we can do as far as plays, personnel, and then obviously the decisions that we make. So I think they're all been doing a great job. We've had a good week of practice, and we've been bumping the intensity up just because this is a huge week for us, and we're really excited to play OSU because they got great competition, they got great players, so it's going to be a tough week.
Tyler, let's go kind of following back up on your family there. You get a little bit more communication with the Beaver side this week, and kind of what is kind of taking into that family dynamic with where it's kind of a split household, half Oregon State?
I haven't really heard from a lot of them really in a while as much, but definitely not this week. I usually hear from my immediate family and my mom's side, but we treat it like it's almost every other week, just like it's the next game. That's kind of the mindset that I kind of instill in them, that it doesn't matter who we're playing, we're going to go out there and execute it to the best of our abilities. But obviously it's going to mean something playing OSU because my mom is from Albany, so we definitely have that family ties. But I haven't heard much, but I just know that there's something different when you go up to Corvallis or when they come down to Eugene.
Tyler, we're about to talk to Johnny Johnson III, and you had a couple of nice connections with him on Saturday. So I just wanted to ask your expert opinion. What does he bring to the table for the Ducks? What kind of receiver is he for you?
He can play any spot in the field, to be honest. He can play Z, X, H, and he has done that in the past. He's been kind of our go-to guy as far as he's really kind of an all-down kind of a wide-out because he's going to make the big catch on third down. He's going to be there for the big play down the field. He's just got great hands. He runs great routes. I pretty much know where he's going to be at all times on the field just because of our chemistry. So he's been a great resource for me to talk to. He's become one of my best friends throughout this whole process. So I know he's been working his butt off, and he's been a veteran group in that wide receiver room. I know the wide receivers wouldn't be where we are today without him and guys like Jalen Red's leadership.
Tyler, this OSU defense obviously has a lot of strength at the linebacker position. Just what do you see, and since that's a position that you read a lot of in the secondary and the back seven of the defense, what do you see from this group in particular?
Yeah, they're physical. They run hard to the ball. They fly around. So that's what we've been seeing them on tape, and they're really experienced guys. So they played us before. They've came down here. So I know they got all the experience and fire under their belt. So we're going to be prepared for whatever they bring, and we got to bring it to them as well, just because it's going to be a physical game.
Tyler, it's good to see Hunter back out there, I'm sure, and getting some of those tight ends back. Kind of, what have you seen from him from practice? And I think probably a lot of people were surprised how effective he was in the passing game. And have you seen kind of that extra motivation from him to improve there after last year where there's some kind of up and down moments?
Yeah, that's just a testament to his work in the offseason and his preparation just throughout this whole year. I think he's the older guy in the group. He's a veteran. He's got a lot of playing under his belt. So I think in those moments, him and I just kind of look at each other, and it's just no up or down. We're just super calm. We've all been in those tight situations. So he's one of those guys that we can all look to really just get us settled in and get us going, because offensive football isn't as much getting fired up and blowing somebody up, but it's more precision and making the right decision. So I think he's just been a great avenue as far as the blocking schemes, and then you can trust him in the passing game. So it's been great to have him back.
Tyler, Coach Moorhead was talking about your ability to work protections and things, particularly on the third and long and stuff you guys faced last week, and the early pressures and stuff. And going forward, just what is that communication like? As again, you guys on the O-line, I know you worked together last year, but now that you're doing it in games, just the communication between you and Alex mainly, but whether it's the tackles to him or you to the tackles or vice versa, because it's not all pass blitzes, it's plenty of run blitzes that came through, and now teams have that on tape to reference as well. Yeah, just Alex and I work together. We work together a lot, and we kind of have our own meetings before the meetings and just talk through protections. And we were obviously roommates before kind of COVID and the season happened, so we have that great chemistry together. There's just really no gray area. We're good with every decision. They know the dynamic that we have, because I can kind of see the safety's leaning one way or nickel coming, because he's kind of got that tight box view. So, and that just goes with film study and talking with the coaches, that they give us a great plan for the week, and we just got to go out there and execute it. So I know Alex is one of the most cerebral players that I've ever played with, just because he takes that into his preparation. He takes it seriously. So I know that we're gonna have a great plan going into the week and just try to do the best that we can with it.
Your roommates Ryan and Alex both grew up in this state. I probably have a little different perspective on this rivalry series. Kind of, what have you learned from them, and maybe have they shared anything with the team that kind of puts into perspective a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. Ryan talked to us after practice today about what it means to play the Beavers. So I know that they've got a lot more deep roots of split families and friends that are Beaver fans, and what it means to them and how they feel about the Ducks. So it definitely means something different, and we got to treat it like, it's the biggest game of the year just because we're playing them next. So we have that mindset that we got to come in and be 1-0 for this week and 1-0 every day. And they obviously give great insight with that because they got personal ties. So I'm really proud of how they've been working, and we just got to keep holding everybody accountable going up to Friday.
That's quarterback Tyler Shuck talking with the media. Yeah, mom from Albany, so she knows what this rivalry is all about, and certainly he does too. I love that he mentioned that Ryan Walk spoke to the media, or I shouldn't say media, spoke to the team. I'm so used to saying that. Spoke to the team after practice today. That's something that Mose noted in his Quack Minute today as well. That, hey, this means a lot, and it's not just that this game is important because it's a rivalry. We know that. We all know it, right? It does add a little bit of something extra. However, getting back to that brand of Oregon football that the Ducks had those first 2 weeks, they didn't play their best football on Saturday against UCLA. And we're live at 1:30 if you're listening with us live and watching with us live. So the College Football Playoff rankings are coming out tonight. And I want to echo again what Mario Cristobal said about that. I'm paraphrasing, but Coach just said, we didn't play our best football last Saturday. So if anybody's thinking about those rankings right now, then we're not doing this right. I'm paraphrasing. Coach said it much more eloquently than that. But I think the point is well-founded. And now you head into a rivalry game, things get a little bit extra tense, and there's a lot more juice out there on the field. We're going to talk with Johnny Johnson and Isaac Slade-Matautia coming up as they just wrapped up their press conferences with the media. Stick with us. Going to talk a little wide receiver with Johnny Johnson. We're back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
This football season, prepare your taste buds for the most iconic sports watching drink of all time, Pepsi. With refreshing deliciousness specially formulated to keep your eye on the ball and mouth-watering fizziness to help you power through game day, Pepsi has everything you need to start strong.
I used to care when Mike cheered so hard he spilled nacho cheese on my carpet, but thanks to Pepsi, even Mike can't ruin my football party.
So this football season, make Pepsi your go-to game day drink because it's the only drink made for football watching. Pepsi, that's what I like.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, Fish Dad!
Oh, come on. This is WWE superstar Titus O'Neil. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Tweens have mastered the art of tuning out. Jen, there's a spider in the car. We're turning your room into a home gym. See? Nothing. But some messages need to get through, like making sure they're buckled up the whole ride, every time. Do whatever it takes to make your child listen. Jen, I friended your boyfriend.
Wait, what?
Buckle up, sweetie.
Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you. You're going to hear from Johnny Johnson and Isaac Slade-Matautia coming up. And if you're just joining us, the Pac-12 has released the men's basketball schedule. No times yet, but the dates are now available via GoDucks.com. Ducks, really no surprises. The occasional Sunday game, but mostly Thursdays and Saturdays for Oregon men's basketball, a typical Pac-12 schedule. The Ducks, though, it does shape up in some ways. I was going to say advantageous, but I say that as I scratch my head because I don't know what to make of any team in this conference this year. I mean, Oregon, if everything goes according to plan, could be really, really good. But just like anything with this year, I think there's so many unknowns and so many things we don't know and so much movement around the Pac-12 conference. I don't know. It's going to be fun to get back to basketball, though. I can't wait to be back at Matthew Knight Arena and see this team in action, particularly a team without Peyton Pritchard. I think you have a guy like Peyton Pritchard. So difficult to replace him. It's impossible to replace a guy like that. He's in the top 5 in pretty much every Oregon category in the record book. But you've got now guys that can step up and do different things because he's not there being the leader anymore, right? That's what happens, right? You get a guy that's so good that he could do everything, and sometimes I think teams could rely on him. Now I think you're going to see different guys step up in different ways for the Ducks. I'm really excited to watch Eric Williams play and Eugene Omarui play. Both guys redshirted last year, have been around the program, so they're new faces for fans, but they were in practice last year. Excited to see what those guys bring to the table, and we'll see. Again, though, tomorrow's game postponed. Hopefully the Ducks will be able to make it up against Eastern Washington later on, and we'll get back to basketball as soon as we can. Meanwhile, continuing with football, Friday, 4:30 kickoff and a 2:30 pregame for us across the Oregon Sports Network. And today, wide receiver Johnny Johnson met with the media, talking about the offense and attacking that Beaver defense.
Johnny, you played in a couple of these rivalry games now. What have you kind of learned from these experiences? And last year's game was really competitive. Were you kind of expecting this year's game could be something similar?
I think they have a great team. I think they've gotten better every year. I know we're going to bring our best game, and I'm just excited to see what happens on Friday.
Johnny, I just asked Tyler Shuck basically the same thing, but, you had a nice connection with him, and you have had a nice connection with him this season. Talk about what he brings to your game.
Just confidence, us being on the same page. I think he's a hard worker, and we're both leaders on this offense, and I just love playing with him.
Johnny, how much more has this offense been able to do this past week and now this week ahead and going forward than even it was in game one, where now that Devin's at X and you were over at Z this past weekend, Hunter back and doing more 12 personnel, it just seems like you guys had even more kind of tools in the toolbox this past weekend and going forward?
I think it's just the development of the entire offense as a whole. I think regardless of who's in there, we're gonna do the right things and make the right plays that we need to make, and that's what we work on every day. So that's the goal.
Along those same lines, Johnny, how comfortable are you guys in this offense? Are you at a point now where it's, hey, we're not thinking anymore, or is it still kind of getting yourselves adjusted and figuring things out?
I think we've done a great job, especially with the shorter time we've had as a group, no spring ball and different things like that, a shortened fall camp. And I think we've done a great job. I think we're comfortable and confident. I think there's confidence both with the play calling and us with the coaches. I think they're confident in us running the right routes and getting open, catching the ball. So, everything's working real well right now.
Johnny, we're hearing lots of good things about Coach McClendon from various coaches and players. Talk about what Coach McClendon has brought to your room and to the wide receiver corps.
I think he's brought a new standard. I think we always thought we knew what the standard is, but I think he's took it to another level, and I think he's done a great job polishing us and making sure all the little things are correct and coaching us hard as he can every day.
Receiver blocking is always important in the run game, particularly against linebackers and stuff. But with a linebacker crew as good as Oregon State's got, particularly on the outside, just how much does that, just that much more important this week when, again, it's always important, but especially against a linebacker group this good?
Like you said, it's always important every week. That's something that Coach BMAC harps on a lot. If we can't block, we're not going to get the ball. So, we gotta do our best job blocking them and helping us get that win on Saturday or Friday.
All right, John, you came with the fumble recovery there on the kickoff. How crazy does that get at the bottom of that pile? Because I don't think Brian looked like Brian had it at first, and then you come out with it. I mean, how wild was that?
It was pretty crazy. I really couldn't breathe down there. It was getting pretty intense. I'm waiting for them to get everybody off me, but it was exciting. That was my first one. So
Devin Williams, he was saying that Devin Williams had a real nice couple of weeks and everyone recognized it. Did you recognize it, and what did you see out of him on Saturday?
On Saturday, y'all saw the explosive plays he was making, and that's just a result of how he practiced the past 2 weeks and the work he's put in every day. And, we've seen it as a whole group, and, you guys got to see it on Saturday.
Right, going back to last year's game, what was your vantage point since the defense was on the field of Thomas's hit on Jamar and the fumble and Brady recovering it? Just were you watching up on the video board or whatever, or did you see it straight line of sight? Where were you, and what were you thinking when it happened?
I think at that point of the game, everyone was kind of standing up. It was getting real close. It was getting towards the end. And I think if I can remember, I was watching it from the field, but I kind of looked at the screen on the replay and everything, and that was an exciting play. We needed that one, and that helped us secure the game.
John, we talked about Devin's emergence in the passing game. I think another guy on Saturday that really stood out was Hunter, especially in the second half. Kind of speak to his development and kind of the progress you've seen from him from last year to this year.
I think it came down to what he did in the offseason, really. All the throwing we did with the QBs and him just putting in work every day, mainly on catching the ball, because that obviously we've had Jacob Bridley in the past years, and I think he took a big step this year for us, and proud of him.
Hunter Campmore has been tremendous for the Ducks at the tight end position. I think it's cool. You hear offensive linemen and wide receivers both talk about tight ends, right? They're that in between, if you will, and some of them do one thing better than the other. Well, Hunter Campmore had more yards in one game than he did in his entire career this past weekend. That's why he was the Pro Football Focus tight end of the week. It's cool for me to hear Johnny Johnson talk about that and comparing him to the likes of Jacob Breland and some of those other great tight ends that Oregon has had in recent memory. Yeah, that's elite company. Elite company, to say the least. And I do think that now that the tight end position has some more availability for the Ducks, it does add a little bit more versatility and flexibility to that Oregon offense for play caller Joe Moorhead. Coming up, we're going to flip to the defense as Isaac Slade Matautia met with the media. It's Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Back to the Country Financial Studio next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
All it takes is one drop to make a wave. One beat to inspire a track. One spark to get creativity flowing. With every drop, Life Water refreshes your mind and restores your body. Purified water, pH balanced with electrolytes for taste. Designed with original works of art on every bottle. Let us be your source of inspiration. Life Water, the feel-good water.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics. This is the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
To buy your home, you became a house hunting ace, learned about loans, scoured neighborhoods, and asked the right questions. Now you're queen of your castle. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll feel empowered to own your retirement like you own your home. Go to aceyourretirement.org. Because when it comes to clearing financial hurdles, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Whoa, long time no see. It's me, the Rock t-shirt in the back of your closet. Dude, remember? You crowd surfed in me, man. But you haven't worn me in like forever. I get it, you're retired, but I still got some rock left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. We're inside the Country Financial Studio, getting ready for the start of hoop season this weekend. The women at 11 a.m. coming up, 10:30 pregame show on Saturday with Terry Johns. The Fab Five, that's what we can call them now. Michigan, man, who were those guys? The Fab Five of this recruiting class for Oregon women's basketball are going to be really fun to watch. And Kelly Graves, if you missed it, go back and watch the replay on YouTube or on the Oregon women's basketball Facebook. Getting to know the Ducks, hosted by Kelly Graves. I often joke that Coach Graves doesn't need me, Terry, anybody. He should just do the play-by-play from the coach's chair. Obviously, he couldn't do that. There might be a few profanity words, but it would be pretty darn entertaining. Coach Graves, you know, when he was in Spokane, he actually used to fill in for the local radio show host. He could do it. Not even. Yeah, that's right. He did do a commercial. It was for Wendy's. Way back in the day. It was, if you just search Kelly Graves Wendy's commercial on YouTube, and you will love your day. after you watch it. Really entertaining. Isaac Slade-Matautia met with the media just a little while ago talking defense with the Oregon linebacker, who's really done a lot for Oregon's defense this season. And an update maybe on Noah Sewell as well, his fellow linebacker. Isaac Slade-Matautia talking with the media.
Isaac, tackling was an issue against Wazoo, and then it was, again, a little bit early and late this past game, particularly against Tempo. How did you guys go about trying to correct that and shore that up this week?
It's all fundamentals and technique, and most of the part was just trusting each other that, your teammates are going to get there. Even if you miss a tackle, you slow them down for your teammates who are in pursuit to make the tackle. But all again, it's just fundamentals, technique. We work on it a lot. We did today, and something you just got to improve through practice. And it's hard during practice because we got a thud. You can't really take people to the ground. So it's just all fundamentals and trusting your teammates.
Isaac, Noah has quickly become a big part of the interior linebacker group. What did it feel like on Saturday when it seemed like he went down with a serious injury for you guys?
You never want to see someone go down, especially him, a young talent, an upcoming, star for the college football. But, for him to come back the next day in practice and act like nothing never happened was, it's tough. It was a tough part on him. So, we're happy that it wasn't something too serious. Again, you never want to see, anybody, especially, a young talent like him go down. But, we're just grateful that, he's back with us, and we're going to keep it rolling this week.
Isaac, following up on that, that doesn't look like limbs are supposed to go that way, and for him to be back at practice a couple days later is crazy. Are we sure he's human? Kind of what was your reaction when you saw him out there after that?
I told him if it was just an act he put on, but for someone, he looked like he was in a lot of pain during the game. It took a while for him to get carted off, but again, seeing him was, we're all happy. Again, that it wasn't too serious of an injury, but again, it's just, it's a mentality, and it's a tough part on him to come back. Not even take a day off and go right back in action.
Prepping for this Oregon State offense, what makes Jamar Jefferson so difficult to stop? No one so far has been able to do that.
We're going to have to work on tackling. That's our biggest downfall right now. And, with a back like him, he's very physical. He can move. He's very shifty, and he's patient behind his own line. But his own line moves very well, so they give him, time to, make a move. But we're going to have to just stay stout front, and it starts up front with the D-line, then and just have our linebackers and secondary come down here and, make a tackle.
Isaac, you faced Tristan Gebbia in last year's game. How much further along do you see him? How different is he? I realize he's only played 3 games since, but how different is he compared to the quarterback he played a year ago?
More confident. He looks more comfortable back there. He can read defense more. It looks like, when he sees something, he can check it right away. And, not something we really seen last year. So, we're just going to have to be great in our disguises, throw him off a little bit, and hopefully just, make him audible every situation we can.
Isaac, you did a really nice job against UCLA in your pass coverage. What part of that game has been improving the most, would you say?
Probably technique, working on, which where's my help, where if I can play inside or outside of the man, and, trusting, again, my teammates who, can flow over the top, and just trying to play my part in the defense. I don't want to give up no plays, and that's not who I want to be, and I'll have my teammates trust me in that part.
Isaac, back to last year's game, what was your vantage point on Thomas's hit and the fumble and Brady's recovery? Because obviously that sealed the win in the game for you guys. But where were you? What was kind of going through your mind on that play in that moment?
Excited. I missed the play before that, if you guys remember. But for us to come back on the field and get a turnover right there, it was a big hit for us. And, our offense, I believe they scored the next drive. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it was a big time play by them. And, we're going to have to do the same thing this week.
Isaac Slade-Matautia really taking over the leadership duties of that linebacker core, and he talked to the media today. And that wraps up our player interviews for the week. With a shortened week, it is a different schedule this week for the Ducks. Everything kind of moved up a day. In fact, today was the final physical practice for the Ducks. Wednesday and Thursday will be like a usual Thursday and Friday if you're following the football calendar for each week. And with the Ducks playing on Friday instead of Saturday with that 4:30 kickoff coming up at Reser Stadium in Corvallis. The rivalry is renewed. Oregon has dominated recently. Keep it going. Slowing down that running attack, though, Isaac Slade-Matautia, the entire linebacker core, the D-line, that's going to be big. Jamar Jefferson has had a couple big games so far this season. He went off for a 75-yard carry on the opening drive last week. And the Beavers have played teams close. Ducks are going to have their work cut out for them, particularly in a rivalry game. And look, Oregon's at 3-0. The Ducks are atop the North standings. Right now, they'd be in line to potentially host that 7th game that would be a Pac-12 championship. I've often said this, though, that if you've got an O on your chest, and if there isn't a bullseye in the middle of that O, then something isn't going right. Because the Ducks often like to be in first place, and usually the Ducks are. Talk a little bit more Oregon and Oregon State coming up, and also a special celebration and a peek at that basketball schedule, too. We'll finish up Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union in the Country Financial Studio next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
I wasn't prepared to be a caregiver to Mom. I had no idea how hard it would be and what I would need to know. Things I never thought of, like how to improve her mood and ways for me to stay positive. Luckily, I found the Caregiving Resource Center from AARP. It had articles about the basics, but also information about the hurdles I was facing.
Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving. Articles, tips, and tools to help you both care for your loved one and care for yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, everybody in the car, let's go.
What are we gonna do first when we get there, Mom? Go for a hike?
Sure.
What about canoeing? Can we go canoeing too?
I don't see why.
How long does it take to get to the forest?
It's not that far, sweetie.
Are we there yet?
Yep, we're here.
Already?
It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you. Taking a look at the Oregon men's basketball schedule that's been announced. Well, we told you about Washington and UCLA coming up on December 12th for the Ducks in Seattle for Oregon men's basketball, and then UCLA on December 23rd. That'll be the final game of the Pac-12 slate before the Christmas holiday. So the Ducks will have Washington and UCLA in this new-look 20-game conference schedule. Those are the two early games to accommodate that 20-game schedule. Just not enough weekends between the usual start of Pac-12 play and then the beginning of the Pac-12 tournament in time for the NCAA tournament. So things are a little bit different with a couple of these December games. And again, Eastern Washington, that matchup has been postponed. The Ducks hope to be able to make it up against the Eagles here at some point, and Oregon's still finalizing that non-conference schedule as we speak. Things are obviously in flux, and keep an eye on the Oregon men's basketball social media. We'll tell you about it on the show every day that we have some updates. And I know that it's tough on fans. It's tough on the coaches, tough on the student athletes, tough on the broadcaster, figuring out when these games will take place. But the Ducks will open against Cal and Stanford in a usual Thursday to Saturday matchup, and it is in Eugene that Oregon will open the now announced Pac-12 schedule. Cal and Stanford, to open things up, I actually think makes sense for the Ducks, at least coming off that Christmas break. So the Ducks will play on New Year's Eve. That means it's time to bust out my bow tie because, anytime it's a New Year's Eve game, we've done it once, so we're going to make it a tradition that you got to wear a bow tie when you call the game on New Year's Eve.
I like to call it the Joey tie.
Oh, I didn't get it. That was bad. Colorado and Utah will be the first road trip for the Ducks. Potentially that Utah game could either be Saturday or Sunday as the Pac-12 finalizes that with TV partners. And again, we'll have all these games for you on the Oregon Sports Network. I right now am not going to be traveling, though. So things are going to sound hopefully no different for those of you who are listening. If everything goes according to plan, you won't even know the difference. But you'll probably know the difference. Ducks will then play Arizona State and Arizona before taking on Oregon State, and it'll be in Eugene on January 23rd when the Ducks will have their first one-game weekend. And then you can find the rest of that schedule on GoDucks.com as it has now been released. Finally today, a chance to lift some spirits. Thanks to the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute Research Center, every week during Oregon football home games, we would be honoring a cancer survivor. We call it our cancer hero of the game. And the motto has been fight like a duck, right, with WVCI, Willamette Valley Cancer Institute. Well, in February of this year, Janina Rager went in for her annual mammogram, and about a week later got a call back for more tests, and then was told that she was diagnosed with stage 1 triple-negative breast cancer. Her WVCI doctor, Dr. Cho, told her, "You're the poster child for why women should get mammograms. If you'd waited 5 more months, his cancer would have been out of control." Boy, that's scary. Although Janina was shocked and scared after that initial diagnosis, she knew the only way she could beat this cancer was to try and stay active, stay positive. So what do you know? She went and hiked Spencer's Butte after every single treatment. That's pretty cool. And when she got down, credited her husband, her Blue family, the Eugene Police Department where she works, and her friends and doctors for being there when she needed them most. Janina continues to battle her disease one day at a time. And we're with you, Janina. Fight like a duck. Perfect time for the fight song to play because she's a big Duck fan. Going to be cheering on the Beavers, and I think we all are wishing Janina the very best. Thanks to Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center for what they do. And Janina Rager, Duck fans are rooting for you. No doubt about that. Basketball schedule's out. Check it out on GoDucks.com. Tomorrow, Jerry and Jorgie will join us for the final Duck Insider of the week. See you then.
They say that car crashes happen in slow motion. The reality is that crashes happen fast. There's no time to think and no time to check if your child is in the right car seat. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your kids in the right seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Get more info at safercar.gov/the